Manchester City have lost 4 games in a row in all competitions. The first time under Pep Guardiola for Manchester City, and for the second time in Guardiola's career, he has lost 4 games in a row in all competitions. The first time he lost 4 games in a row in all competitions was in 2015 when he was managing Bayern Munich. So 9 years later, he has lost 4 times in a row in all competitions, and the first under his management of Manchester City. Are they supposed to be worried? Honestly, I don't think that is okay, it's a bit of disappointment for Manchester City and Guardiola, but I don't think they are worried. I don't think Guardiola's job is in or maybe it's in line, or maybe it's going to be get sacked. Yesterday, when the Brighton fans were singing "You're getting sacked in the morning," I think that is not the topic as far as Manchester City are concerned. I think this is just a bit of setback, but I believe that they're not worried internally, and they are just missing some 1, 2, 3 players, and if they are going to be back, I think all is going to be well, because honestly, I've watched all those 4 games where Man City have lost, and they've dominated. They dominated against Spurs in the Carabao. They did the same against FC Bournemouth, in the Premier League last weekend. They dominated against Sporting Lisbon in the Champions League on Tuesday. They did dominated yesterday against Brighton at the Amex Stadium, but they have lost all those 4 games. Starting with the Spurs, they lost 2-1. Bournemouth, they lost 2-1. They lost 4-1 to Sporting Lisbon, and now yesterday they lost 2-1 again to Brighton. And I think out of all these games which they've lost, the one against Brighton was a bit painful in terms of Manchester City in their own perspective, because they were leading and they had chances until the 78th minute when Joao Pedro scored to equalize, and 5 minutes later O'Reilly scored to make it 2-1 in favor of the Seagulls. And I think that's a bit of let-off for Manchester City, because Liverpool have gone 5 points clear the top of the Premier League after 2-0 win against Aston Villa. Do you think Manchester City will win the league as they always win, no matter how bad they start the season? Or do you think this season is going to be a different one? As I was saying, I don't think that they are going to be they're not worried that is Manchester City, because I know they have players who can do wonders for them. This has always been the case of Manchester City. They start the season poorly, but I think this season they've been so poor compared to the past 3 seasons where they started so poorly, but they went ahead and win the league in those scenarios or those seasons. But this season, I think they've been so poor. They lost against Spurs in the Carabao. I think Manchester City, I don't think they always take Carabao seriously, and after the 2-1 loss against Spurs on the Carabao Cup, I knew this is something normal. This is something that I was expecting. But the loss against Bournemouth, the loss against Sporting CP, the loss against Brighton yesterday, I don't think it is or it was in the script as far as Guardiola and Man City are concerned. I think it has come as a shocker for them, because they were not expecting this kind of result to come their way. When facing Bournemouth, you expect City to win. When facing Brighton, you expect Manchester City to win. Also, Sporting CP, I think I was expecting Manchester City to win. They scored the first goal through Phil Foden in, I think, the 4th minute, and that was it. They never scored again. I think having watched their games where they've lost, I think their main issue is their defense and the creativity. After the injury of Kevin De Bruyne, I think there's no creativity. Erling Haaland is not getting those open chances, those crosses and those passes in the box, and I think this is where Manchester City are struggling. Having a look at the formation yesterday, I think it was a 4-1. If I can just check on it, the formation for Manchester City. I think it was a 4-1-4-1 formation with Matheus Nunes playing as a left winger, and I think this is the case for Manchester City because Grealish and Doku are not fit enough. Mateo Kovacic as a CDM, I don't think Mateo Kovacic is a central defensive midfielder. Kovacic is a central midfielder, and he's being given the responsibility to fill a void left by the injured Rodri, whom I think is a very crucial player for Manchester City. So Kovacic as a CDM, I don't think it is working for Manchester City. Playing Matheus Nunes as a left winger is not working for Manchester City, and also I don't think their back four is doing great so far this season. I think the main issue for Manchester City currently is they are missing a lot of players. And if you look at their lineup yesterday against Brighton, where they Guardiola fielded Josko Gvardiol, Simpson, and Kyle Walker, and also with Rico Lewis as a back four. And maybe I was thinking maybe Kyle Walker might play as a left back and Gvardiol play as a centre back, but that wasn't the case because I think Gvardiol played as a left back with Simpson and Kyle Walker as a centre back and Rico Lewis as a right back, and this did not work for them because the way they conceded the second goal, that O'Reilly goal, I don't think that defense was really working because the way Rico Lewis allowed that pass from Joao Pedro to O'Reilly, I think that was totally unacceptable. And looking at the current injury for Manchester City, John Stone is injured, Ruben Dias is injured, as we all know, Oscar Bob is injured but is coming back in January. Jeremy Doku has had a knock against Sporting CP. I was surprised because he had a good cameo against Sporting CP in that match, and I was hoping he could start against Brighton. I was surprised that he wasn't even on the bench because he had a knock. Jack Grealish also is having a knock and is not yet fit enough, but I'm surprised he's been called up the England national team for the upcoming international games. So the injuries are also a factor in for Manchester City so far this season, and also they are missing Rodri. Just to let you know, or to justify how Rodri has been very important for Manchester City so far. Just looking at the stats, Man City have lost 36% of their games without Rodri and only 1.2% with him. So this tells you a lot. Out of 81 games City have played with Rodri, they have lost only one. I think this one was against Manchester United in the Community Shield, rather in the FA Cup. Games without Rodri, they have played 25 games and they've lost 9 games without Rodri. So this tells you a lot how Rodri is a very important player for Manchester City, and also injuries are also a concern for Guardiola. But even though City are missing some players, I don't think that is still justifying the fact that they've been so poor in terms of creating chances and in terms of defending. They've been so poor, and a club like Manchester City under a great manager like Pep Guardiola, we don't expect for them to lose 4 games in a row, even if they are facing injury crisis at the moment. That is not acceptable for Manchester City, and I think Guardiola need to fix this as soon as possible, because looking at the next fixtures for Manchester City, I think it's a bit scary, because if the trend doesn't stop for Guardiola, it's going to be, as I said, it's going to be a bit difficult, because they are facing after international break. They are facing Tottenham Hotspur. After Spurs, they are facing Liverpool. After Liverpool, I think they are facing Nottingham Forest and Crystal Palace. in the Premier League, with also Feyenoord in the Champions League. So their next 2 games are going to be crucial for their title race this season. The game against Spurs and the game against Liverpool, the league leaders at the moment. Those 2 games are going to be crucial for Manchester City, their pursuit for their 5th title in a row. So this is what Guardiola needs to do. I think first of all, he needs to have these players back fit enough after the international break, and he hopes that the injured players will be back as well. The likes of Stones, Diach, and also Doku and Grealish should be back also for the citizens after the international break. And I think with that, I believe Guardiola can still do this, and he's a good manager. And 5 points behind Liverpool, I don't think that is a big worry for the citizens, and I think they can do it after the international break. But they need to they need to work out on their defense, as I said earlier. And if they are to win then their next 2 games against Spurs and Liverpool, then a lot needs to be done as far as Guardiola is concerned. At the moment, Liverpool are 5 points clear at the top of the table. And today we have Arsenal playing Chelsea, and United are playing Leicester at Old Trafford. Do you think Manchester City can win the Premier League 5 times in a row, or do you think this season is going to be going through other clubs? Let me know your comments, your views, your opinions in the comment section below. Thanks for watching, guys.